Solid clap.
All right, Rise City. Welcome back to the Digging Deeper podcast. My name is Mariah. I'm here with Pastor Bobby. And this is our podcast where we dig a little deeper into the sermon from Sunday. So, good morning.
Good morning.
Or good afternoon, or whenever you listen to this podcast.
Everyone listens in the morning, obviously. I'm kidding.
Right as you're getting ready, brushing your teeth.
Something like that.
When's your top podcast listening time?
When I get in the car and I'm driving to the office in the morning.
And when I get in the car anywhere. I'm like, that's pretty much it. Or doing the dishes.
Yeah, never at home.
Are you the dish doer at home?
The dishwasher is the dish doer at home.
I think it's still a lot of work to get them loaded in the dishwasher and unloaded. It's like laundry. It's like, I can wash it. I'm not going to fold it.
Yeah. Why would you fold
That's going to take 5 to 6 business days. About Sunday. So we had a great message, another one in our patriarch series. But I want to kind of start in reverse because the series ended, or the message ended, and we did a little missions focus.
Yeah.
A really exciting missions focus for our church. It's a brand new concept for Rise City. It's an experience that you walked through before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to just hear a little bit of your heart for the program called Food for the Hungry, your experience with it, and also the trip that you and Michael McGarrett took to visit the town that God's partnered us with.
Yeah. So Food for the Hungry is the organization. They've been around for 50 years, give or take. And their goal is to help end poverty across the world. And so they've been in Guatemala for a number of years. And what they do is they work with specific communities and they partner churches with a community to help that community, lift up out of poverty. It's faith-based, Christian-based organization, and everything is God-centered and Jesus-centered with these. And so in my previous experience, we went to a community that was in the mountains of the similar region of where we're at, and we partnered, over a number of years. We helped them. When I say helped, we put in a sport court, helped put in latrines.
So cool.
We helped put latrines in homes, water filtration systems in homes, community clinic, health clinic, and a community kitchen. And so we put in these significant things, but it's not us doing the work necessarily. We're helping provide resource so they can do the work, and we get to be there for some of the effort.
Yeah.
So like the first time we went and we did a sport court. We saw a couple of the tiles of concrete get laid, but we left long before it was finished. And then we came back the next year and there was the sport court. Yeah. And what was really cool about that one is, that's a big deal for communities. It's a place where they can gather together. It's a place where they can host other communities. And so that sport court was so nice and so new that the surrounding communities of the community that we were partnering with called Chatish, the surrounding ones would come and play soccer. Like their kids would come, they'd bring them, they'd do little tournaments and games at that sport court. And it just, builds community, gives opportunity for kids to have something to have fun,
and a
for
safe
parents.
place to gather.
Yeah, all of that. And so stuff like that's a huge deal. And then obviously like latrines and water filtration systems, community kitchen. When we visited the first time, that community, their kitchen was, wood planks, dirt floor, fire pit in the back, tin roof. That was pretty rusted out. And so when we were able to help with the community kitchen, it was beautiful. They were able to run a couple lights in it. So it was bright. The previous one had no lighting. And then, it was just a beautiful thing. That's something that they could be proud of and feed food to their kids. And so our new community that we're partnering with, it's called Chiho. And beautiful community, pretty large community in all reality. And so there's, well over 100 kids that are available for us to sponsor as a church. And, regarding sponsorships, I want to talk about that. Let me come back to that. But the partnership over the long haul is to walk alongside this community, to partner with them. It's not us helping them and them just needing our help. No, they have plans that they are praying through, they're believing for. Me and Michael were able to sit down and hear from their community leaders, and they have things that they're believing for that God can help them do in their community, whether it be things like they would love a sport court in their community as well, or things like they do like these co-op partnerships with people in the community that help establish business and trade.
So good.
We experienced one. It was a group of women in a different community that had a chicken coop with about 100 chickens that would lay eggs, and they would take those eggs
It's
to
a lot.
market. They would have to take care and tend to, but they had a small business running. These group of women did, and then from the resources, they're able to. In the end, they'll get a profit from it, but they're able to take loans from it if they need to do
Yeah.
something, and so it's creating an economy, helping them in that way as well. And so there's stuff like that that Food for the Hungry does specifically to help, whether it's uh, physical health, spiritual poverty, just awareness. Um, they have food scarcity issues in Guatemala for sure. And a lot of the communities, there's a lot of corn. And so one of the things Food for the Hungry does is helps with agricultural and knowing, other crops that they can grow and they can teach them how to cook them. And I'm sure it's similar. It might
Interesting.
sound funny, but like, I moved from North Carolina to San Diego. The tacos are different here. You know what I mean? Like they're
Better.
better. Of course, they're better. But the point is like sometimes you move and you try a new food and you don't even know like how do you cook Brussels sprouts? I throw them in the trash can, but how will someone who eat them cook them?
Air fryer.
Air fryer. There it is. And so stuff like that where they go, okay, hey, here's broccoli or here's whatever this crop or
Mhm.
produce may be. They help them to grow them, and then they help them to know how to use them in different dishes to add nutrients to for children.
So good.
Guatemala ranks pretty high in chronic childhood malnutrition,
Mhm.
and it's due usually to diet. And so Food for the Hungry is they literally have come in to help these communities, and we partner. So we're a partner. We're not the savior. We're the partner that comes with them. They've been praying. They've been believing. God has provided resources to us to be able to share, and we'll get to walk alongside them. And so the beauty of the partnership is we also have those child sponsorship options.
Yep.
Now, I think I don't think when I talked about this yesterday, I don't think I gave enough information or heartbeat about what the sponsorship actually does.
Mhm.
And, I talked about you can communicate and write letters. And if you
Yes.
travel on the mission trip with us, you can visit the child. But that sponsorship actually helps Food for the Hungry run their resources in that community. And so there's a full staff that work in the branch that we're at. And then every week, a handful of the staff members will be in Shiho specifically, and our resources help provide that. When they do projects or they do agricultural projects
Mhm.
and things like that, our resources help provide that. Whether it be education supplies and stuff like that, our resources help provide that. And it doesn't just help provide it. So if you sponsor one child, it doesn't just help provide it for the one child. It helps provide it for the entire community, because their goal, the way they described it to me a long time ago, was like if you're sponsoring one child, and let's say a family has 5 kids,
Mhm.
and one child is sponsored and the other 4 aren't. Well, all 5 are going to receive the benefit of that sponsorship. It's
Mhm.
not like, one kid's going to be living large and the other 4 are neglected. No, the whole community is being partnered with. And when we sponsor a child, as individuals, it helps that whole community. Again, just helps them get lifted up out of poverty. There's educational resources that Food for the Hungry provide. There's statistical analysis and data, and they equip the community leaders to do it well. So that's really the partnership.
So
It's
good.
it's the community leaders, it's Food for the Hungry, and it's our church. And they have that running in multiple communities, and they've seen great success from it.
I'm just not familiar with such a holistic approach.
Mm,
Food for Hungry is just very different than other organizations I've partnered with in the past
sure.
that maybe center on building a church and having resources and food
Yeah.
go out from there, which are all beautiful, have a
All
huge
of them, yeah.
impact in our global, ever all of it.
Every organization that is an upstanding organization that's helping and providing help, I think they're
So
beautiful.
good.
And
That's what uniquely draws me to Food for the
yeah,
Hungry.
and I think their uniqueness is also beautiful. Like every organization doesn't do it the same, and so whether there's all kinds of them. However, they all work, I think is good. Food for the Hungry is, yeah, it is unique and it is effective. And what's really cool, one just really cool story. Me and Michael Magera. For those of you who don't attend Rise, Michael is just one of our leaders in the church.
He's
And
everywhere.
he's going to be helping serve on these mission trips every year. he'll be leading teams and helping organize
So good. Michael's great.
all the trips. He's
That'll be
phenomenal.
amazing.
So me and him were able to go and be in the communities and connect and hear their stories. And yeah, there's a beauty of what we're going to be able to do when we travel and go and be there. And so
That'll be
yeah.
so good. We've done some trips internationally into Mexico
Hmm.
as a church.
Yeah.
But other than that, in our time that we've been a church, we haven't taken an international missions trip somewhere.
Yeah.
So this will be a first time experience for so many of our people in our church.
Yeah.
So good.
And it is, yeah, it is something we can do annually. People can go back to, and if you're a part of Rise, it is definitely something I would prayerfully hope people would consider. Consider
Mhm.
sponsoring a child, consider going on a trip, and at minimum, consider praying
Yeah, I love
and
that.
believing that God will do something significant through this partnership. And it is a beautiful community. When we went, honestly, we went okay. So that was one last thing I was going to say. Sorry, and then we could talk about the message or whatever. But when we went, our the person who sort of heads up church partnership in Guatemala,
Mhm.
um, she is her lady. Her name's Amalia. Amalia, I met her the very first time we traveled to Guatemala, like Megan and I years ago. She
Mm.
was our translator. Amalia speaks 4 languages: English, Spanish, Quechua, and Pocumchi.
For real?
For real, and I've seen her do them all in unison. There's
Wow.
there's people speaking all the
That's such
languages,
an ability.
and she's translating for everybody. It's the craziest thing in the world. She's incredible. Her story is actually on the Food for the Hungry website because she grew up. I don't want to the details of her story. Her father was in ministry. She was lived in one community, went to another community, but when she was a child, she was actually a sponsored child through Food for the Hungry.
Cool.
And so she was a sponsored child in a sponsored community that since has obviously graduated out of the program and they're
Yes.
self-sustaining because that is Food for the Hungry's goal, to be a self-sustaining community that can then in turn help the communities around you. So she was a sponsored child who grew up in and with the help of Food for the Hungry, and today she serves at a huge capacity, doing great work. And so she's still doing the work as an adult married kid. She's doing the work now that once was such a blessing to her. And so there's lots of great stories like
And
that.
we get the honor of just watching
Yeah.
God do amazing things to amazing people.
Yep.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder we're excited about it.
Mm.
And that was something that's began through our Christmas offering last year
Yeah.
that we're now getting to start to see the movement on.
Mhm.
So
And we
pretty
sent a
great.
check to them
Mhm.
early on just as an initial
Yes.
partnership check. But it's a 5 year at least commitment that we'll be walking out.
So good. So good. So thanks for bringing that our way. I think that's going to be a great experience. Okay, back to the patriarchs. So we've made our way through Abraham, Isaac. That's here where we are now. And you started saying this like catchy phrase in the sermon that I want to kind of dig in on. The what walks in the Father runs in the Son.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that phrase.
It's just the idea of whether it's in the positive or in the negative, it both exists. It's an idea for me. It's something I think about like as a dad, and it's a catchy saying. What walks in the father runs in the son. What walks in the mother walks and runs in the daughter. Like the father
No, it's
son
only for
bit
guys.
is yeah, but it's just the idea of what walks in the leader and the parent. Is that there's a good chance it'll run in the son to the positive and negative. So um I think about it like in my own life, like if there's things that I do that I allow in limited, those that I lead probably will allow it in excess.
Give
Um
me an example.
okay. So if the worst example is if I spend a lot of time on my phone but I have some level of balance, no one's going to see my balance. My kids won't see my balance. So they're only going to take whatever thing I did at a limited amount, and either they could do the opposite and put the brakes on it,
Mhm.
or they could just let it go to the extreme. And there's a lot of things that it
Fair.
can apply to. Yeah.
My 8-year-old just asked me the other day, how come you limit my screen time? Because you say it's not healthy for me. But I see you on your phone and I don't really see a limit popping up.
Oh man.
I'm like,
Um,
you know what? I think Your
because I
grandma's
have
your
self-discipline.
grandma's calling you. She wants to take you out for ice cream and candy. You should go.
Yeah, but like even food, ice cream and candy. I mean, how many times do you limit your kids' sugar intake and you're sitting over there like
No, man, my
you've
dogs eat healthier than I do. I buy my dogs like organic,
of
grain-free,
course you do.
whatever, and then I eat Oreos. I mean,
You're
I
like,
can't.
I got a bag of frozen peas, but if you open it up, it's got ice cream in it. Is that I see that being at
No, we did
Mariah's.
that as kids.
Yeah.
We would hide the toaster strudels like in the hash brown bag so no one would find
Brilliant.
them.
Brilliant.
That's a shout out to my brother.
Yeah, and so, but it's just this idea. So that statement, "What walks in the Father runs in the Son," is sort of like that cautionary tale, that statement that to think about and consider when we make the decisions we do as leaders, as parents, as people who are going ahead, to know that if we allow something in even just small amounts or something seems ordinary, it can just run in the negative or in the positive. I remember when Simon was younger, I don't know, he's younger than 10. We were sitting in a room. I didn't know this. A friend of mine told me, but he was the kids pastor and he was talking to all the kids and then like, what do your parents love?
Oh
Or
boy.
something like that. And Simon says, my dad loves the Bible. Which was
Oh,
like, I was like, that is like the
what?
coolest thing. And I remember thinking like, I didn't do it intentionally. He told me like, so my friend told me when I told that story, he's like, hey, when I heard that, I actually thought to myself, and I hope my kids say that about me,
I
that I
know.
actually am in love with God's word. And I sort of like in my head, I was like, I don't know, it didn't register why he said it. Like I never intentionally like sat around and read my
Mhm.
Bible and like around him be like, look, Simon, I'm reading my Bible.
It's because you're a pastor.
Uh, I don't think so. He'd never really heard me preach. He was in kids ministry, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But in his head, he had saw enough of it on a regular basis, and it lit something up in him
That's so
that
sweet.
now like he's actually read the Bible through a couple times, at least once cover to cover in the New Testament a handful of times. And there's times when he slacks and he doesn't read it very well, and he's like any other human being. But I know that if I example something for my children,
Mhm.
that it sets an example that they can emulate and grow from,
Appears
both
normal.
in the positive like Bible and both in the negative like too much screen time. You know.
As you're raising up your kids, what are some things that like generational things that you are trying to change? Things that you realize, oh, that's running in me.
Yeah,
I didn't
my
realize.
family has a long history of addiction.
Mm.
And so, like addictive personalities. Like I don't drink alcohol. And I think one of the primary reasons I don't, like I grew up when I found God, I was in high school. I was like, oh, so like my buddy was his dad was a deacon at a Baptist church. It was like my best friend, and his dad drank like beer every now and then. Like he'd have a beer at
Mhm.
dinner or whatever. Like I never saw the man drunk, but like he'd have a 6 pack of beer in his refrigerator.
Mhm.
And I remember thinking, I don't think you're allowed to do that. I think you're going to get in trouble. And so his dad just showed me. He's like, yeah, like deacons shouldn't be consumed of much wine. It's Timothy verse. And I was like, oh, so it's not about like yes and no here. It's like, hey, there's measures and wisdom and whatever. And so when I got saved, I was like, okay, so though I drinking is like the most unpardonable sin, that's the way it was taken. I
At
was like,
least for
"Oh."
Baptists.
Yeah, I was like, "So maybe it's not exactly. Maybe there's measures where it's okay." So then I have to ask myself the question, is it okay for me? I didn't drink
Mm.
soda in high school because I was a soccer player. So,
Does
I
soda
did
make you run slower?
yes, it does. That's what my coach told me. So when I was a freshman, he saw me drinking a Fanta and he's like, "Oh, I hope you're not drinking that during the season. It's gonna slow you down." And I went, "Soda will slow you
Please?
down?" He goes, "Yeah." I threw it away and didn't drink a soda for 4 years. Not lying. Literally threw it away. I was like, "All right, no more soda. Only sweet tea for me."
You've given that up
Um,
now, I know.
yeah, I don't need to run fast anymore. And so, but yeah, so I didn't drink. But the question I began to ask myself is like, okay, if even if it is permissible, is it profitable for me?
Mhm.
And so I know my father was an alcoholic, and had serious addiction issues. And I know that addiction issues might have run in my family. My grandfather, and we're not even talking blood, as my mom's adopted dad was pretty bad with alcohol as well. And so I've seen a lot of addictive personalities in my past. I know it's in my family, and I
You're
know it
like,
exists. I
you're
can
like, I'm not
and
playing.
so I'm always like, if I love coffee and I have it every day, and I don't like to go a day without it.
Scratch that. He doesn't like to go part of the day without it.
Part of the day without
Morning
it.
and afternoon
Morning
coffee.
and afternoon coffee. And so if I know that's true about something like coffee, I know that's also probably would be true for me about something like alcohol. And so I purposely don't drink because I just don't think it'll be profitable for me, because I know. And so I've taught my kids, hey, be like Simon specifically, he's the oldest.
Yeah.
Hey, be careful, because in our family we have a lot of addictive personalities.
Mhm.
And so it's just something that we have to be aware of and manage well and be smart with. And there might be people who can have permission to do things that I don't do, because I just don't think it's going to land me in a good or a right place.
Right.
And so that's like one simple thing that I think of.
Yeah.
Um,
I can like attest that's true for you because when you got your house, so they just moved into a house has a pool. Megan and Bobby are telling me like this pool is so strange. It has like a, I don't know, like maybe it was a spa, like it has steps down to it and it kind of like leans into the pool, but it like, I don't know what this thing is. Maybe we'll just fill it in. And it didn't occur to me. I'm like, ah, whatever. It's probably an old spa. I looked at the listing. I'm like, guys, it's a swim up bar.
yeah.
And they had no idea
But
what it
I
was.
still don't understand how it works. I'm like, this is at my house. I still want to do something with that
So you can
hole in
like
the ground.
swim up and like get a drink.
Someone can take the bartender down.
Or you like lay all the food out for like the event. Then kids can just swim up and eat food and leave.
Kids eating food in a pool sounds against everything I learned growing up. Because when you eat food, you got to give it 25 minutes before you can get in the pool, because you'll cramp up.
Oh boy.
That's what I was taught as a child.
That's so sad. I was taught eat fast, jump back in. Worked great for me. So sorry about your swim up bar.
Yeah.
Great to hear about that as a whole. What do you feel like? Why are we so likely to repeat even things that we're like, I'm not going to do that, and we find ourselves doing it anyway?
I think the reality is we all have a a sin nature that's at war within us that wants to control. I think our flesh desires. I think they're stronger than we give them credit for, and I think I think we yield quicker, or we think we make excuses. I mean, there's 1,000 things I think why we do it. We make excuses. We give our I think it was Saint Francis of Assisi. Is that how you say this? The location. He said only. It's either him or Dietrich Bonhoeffer. I can't remember right now.
One of
Only,
those great
yeah, one of those
theologians.
great. He says only someone as foolish as a disciple would test their own strength. Um, and
Oh.
and I think we do that. I think we run down roads because we're like, oh yeah, I'll be strong enough, or I'll be fine, or I'll work it out great, and so I think we do it because of that. I think we dip our toes in the water, thinking it'll be safe, not realizing it wants to devour us. And I think we think we're stronger than we really are. And I think, the scripture, pride comes before the fall. I think oftentimes that's what that means. It's like I am going to be strong enough to withstand this. I am going to be good enough,
Mhm.
not realizing that we're walking into a trap, and maybe we don't have to be strong enough to endure it. Maybe
That's how we like when we're teaching kids about sin. We teach a couple of things about sin. One of them being that a lot of times sin is tricky, that it feels good at first, but whenever there's sin involved, someone always gets hurt.
Mhm.
And so I think that plays to what you're saying. You think like, oh, I can dip my toe in this because it's really not sin until this point. So I just won't, I'll just be all right.
Yeah,
But that's why God hates sin so deeply, is because someone always gets hurt.
yeah,
He didn't design us to live that way. So someone will get hurt.
yeah.
So when you play around with it, you're risking yourself, which is someone he loves, and
Mhm.
everyone in your boat.
Yeah,
So it's tricky like that.
definitely, definitely. And so, yeah, I think we jump into situations, maybe not thinking through the ramifications. And sometimes it's possible we stumble
Mhm.
into situations because we just didn't put the right guardrails in place. And it wasn't like fully intentional,
Mhm.
but it wasn't unintentional in this sense either, you know?
Guardrails are that really interesting concept of like guardrails keep you from going off the road, but the guardrails themselves are actually on the road. So you're actually giving up a slight amount of your rights in
Mhm.
order to have the guardrails.
That's
To
great.
what you're saying,
Yeah.
like, can you drink? Yes, you can, but you're giving up a slight amount of your rights because you know that you need that guardrail
Yeah.
because it's a real steep fall.
Yeah.
But we get real antsy, especially as, individualists of like, well, I can do that. It's like,
Yeah.
you definitely
And
can.
we sometimes we see
Should you?
the freedom of others and we go, "Well, I'll be fine. If they can do it, I can do it too."
Yeah.
But that's not always true. Some people, don't have the same proclivities. Some people don't have the same issues. And if we don't set smart and wise parameters
Mhm.
in our life, yeah, we'll fall off the side of the mountain in a bad way, and it'll end up hurting ourselves and everyone around us. And so it doesn't mean anyone's perfect. I don't know anyone that's perfect that hasn't like made a mistake in the journey of life and who isn't making mistakes. Like everyone makes mistakes
Mhm.
and makes wrong decisions, but putting those things in place helps navigate the tricky seasons and helps navigate the seasons when you have maybe went on the other side of that guardrail to bring you back and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that all stems from the whole thought of that statement, by the way, stemmed from the fact that Isaac did the same thing Abraham did, which so the whole message, the start of it in my mind was Isaac told Abimelech that Rebecca was his
You're like, come
sister.
on, bro.
I'm like, your dad did this twice. How do you not know that this is not a good idea? But then you just start reading the scriptures around it, and you're like, wait. Also, you have a wife who's barren, but you responded differently. Okay, wait a second. You're going to redig the
Mhm.
wells that your father had dug. So that's on the positive side. So like what walks in the Father runs in the Son. Like there's some things of faithfulness
Yeah.
that got to Abraham eventually that was in Isaac early. And so, by the end when Abraham offered Isaac as a sacrifice according to God, and then God stopped him. Like Abraham was full of faith, trusting God. I think you look at Isaac's early story of praying for Rebecca.
Mhm.
That's a flow from the life of faith that he saw his dad live there, and so I think it happens in the positive, it happens in the negative,
Yep.
and
That's the beauty of what
yeah,
I read in the Bible.
yeah,
I'm like, y'all are messed up and you guys are full of faith. I'm like, you know what? I could probably do that.
yeah,
Like, that's an encouragement to me.
yeah.
I'm like,
The part I love about the Bible, like around that kind of stuff, is like when they share their mistakes. Because if you were to write the biography of a current church leader,
write it out.
how many mistakes are we adding to the biography? Not a big one. Definitely not a big one.
Not
A mid-size one,
not
probably
David
not.
sized.
Definitely not David size. If you add David size, you got to
Canceled.
excommunicate them and cancel them.
Mhm.
If you add Abraham, I mean, he did some. Come on,
Really terrible things.
like you can run down this list. We're going to add Jacobs, who we come to next.
Mhm.
He made some
No spoilers, man.
interesting, but that's throughout the Bible. But if we write biographies today, we would get rid of all the mistakes
Mhm.
and only show the all right decisions. Or
Actually, there'd be two books. There'd be that one, and then there'd be the hit piece.
yeah, yeah,
The hard part is that when you don't have them both, you don't have a full picture of
yeah,
who they are and what God's doing through their
yeah.
life.
And I
And
get
that's
it.
what we get here.
I get it. People don't want to share their deepest, darkest secrets, the biggest mistakes they've ever made. It's not something we want to necessarily put on blast and throw on social media. But the reality is we all live a life where you've come up short, you've made some mistakes,
Mhm.
and the grace of God on the other side of that, it it is powerful in your own life, and the reality of that in other people, it's powerful as well. And so I love that God moves powerfully through this family, through their best decisions and through their worst decisions.
Mhm.
And I love that God's continued the theme. And that was the other part. So what walks in Father runs in Son, the promise that was for Abraham would come through Isaac.
Yeah.
And Isaac's hearing the same covenant promise that his
Reaffirmed.
father heard. He probably heard his dad say it at some point in time. This is what God told me. But here he's hearing God say it to him. And God's even reminding him, hey, I gave this promise to Abraham, your father,
Mhm.
but he's hearing it from God himself. And so there's a beauty to that.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
As we are closing,
Uh-huh.
there's one thing I really want to make sure we hit because I thought it was so interesting, the idea of redigging wells. So, with the idea here being of redigging wells and getting fresh water from them again.
Hmm.
But spiritually speaking, what are some wells that we either individually or as a church of large have let fill up with dirt and become really unused, but we need fresh water from again?
Well, the ones I talked about yesterday in the sermon, prayer,
Community.
evangelism, community, and honor, those were the four.
Mhm.
You had it in the right order. Community was the second one, evangelism was the third, and honor was the fourth. I honestly think prayer is a huge one. Um, I think that we spend a lot of time, updating statuses on social media, conversations with friends. Um, I think in the world that we live in that is busy as we are today
Mhm.
with as much distractions that are available, prayer is one of the most easily neglected things. For instance, we get in the car and we turn on a podcast. You said you turn the podcast in the
Mhm.
car. I turn the podcast in the car. When how often do we turn off the podcast and we just spend time praying?
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I
you
was
know,
listening to Christine Kane the other day,
uh huh,
who shout out will be one of our speakers at our women's conference we're going to
yeah, yeah.
August 29th. Tickets still available. And Christine Kane was saying that one of the biggest threats to prayer today is research
Mm,
or like chat GPT. Instead of going to God and praying, we research it.
yeah,
And she was just saying, like, growing up as a young minister in the outback of Australia, like, if she needed to know how to do something in ministry, she had to go and pray and ask God for a strategy.
yeah.
And she's like, our generation now, if we want to learn how to do something in ministry, we go research it. We find some podcasts and some advice from other pastors and
Yeah.
whatever, and how deeply that's affected who
And,
we
and the
are.
truth is, the research and the other pastors' wisdom is not bad,
Mhm.
but if you lose prayer in preference to that, then you prayer is more
Right. Say
important.
you're like really worried because of a test result you got from your doctor. There was an era where all you could do was pray and ask God for his peace.
Yeah.
Instead, we go to WebMD and we ask for, what are the possibilities? Da, 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 and then we're like, okay, I feel calmer because this might happen or,
Mhm.
might be all
Yeah.
right. And how research isn't bad, but what did we
What
lose?
we lose, yeah. And so I think prayer is a huge one. I mean, I even talked about it yesterday, is like, do you pray out loud or do you pray silently in your head? And I even think of that concept alone, um, it should be something worth considering, is like to pray out loud, to use your words when you speak to God, not just to think about him in your thoughts.
There's an embodiment about speaking something out loud that really fully involves your entire
Well, yeah, I can
mind, body,
think,
all
I
that.
don't know, more words a second than I can speak.
Mm.
So when you use your words, you're going to be more intentional, or you're going to get lost and you're going to pause yourself and you're going to come back to it. In the scripture, like you could look it up, but I mean, most of the prayers in the scripture are spoken prayers.
How
But
would they
there
have been recorded if they
but
weren't?
but there are some that are thought, but usually the thought prayers, I think I referenced this in the one of the services, but it like Hannah, she's
Mhm.
distraught. She's there and
They think she's drunk.
yeah, and
She's so
she's
distraught.
praying in her heart and in her head, and that happens. Like there's nothing wrong with it. But if we only are praying in our heads and we're never praying with our mouth, go boldly to the throne room of grace
Mhm.
is scripture. And
He
so I
even does
think
this in public prayer.
yeah.
The first time with our staff, you're like, "We're all gonna pray." We're like, "Great." You're like, out loud at the same time. We're like, "What?"
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, "Do I be loud? Do I be quiet?"
And
We've never done that
it's
before.
not saying that like it's not even a pattern. It's like just get comfortable speaking to God out loud. And sometimes I think we turn prayer into performance.
Mhm.
And we know that because we say, I don't know what to pray or how to pray. Well, yeah, you do. You know how to talk to someone. You know how to talk to God. What they're saying is, I don't know what words I'm supposed to use or not supposed to use,
Mhm.
or I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to
I
ask
don't know
this.
what you're gonna think about what I'm gonna say.
Exactly. And prayer is not that. And I think sometimes we turn it into performance um, to position ourselves in a place of superiority, to position ourselves in a place of whatever. Like it turns into something else. Prayer is communication with God. It is, you speak to God as a friend speaks to another. And so I don't think it's about right words. I think it's about right heart. I don't think it's about even volume necessarily, but I think it is about, hey, we go boldly to God. We trust Him that He hears us.
Mhm.
That He responds. And the prayer of a righteous man is powerful and effective. That's the scripture I shared yesterday, James 5:16, I think it is. And but and there's something about it. And so I think we've lost that. I think we've lost community. That was the other one I talked about. And again, it all comes back to we don't have time for any of these things, but we do. We just prioritize other things. And my question is like, are the things that we've exchanged our time for instead of these wells that have brought great life to us that have now been filled in, and we have these other
Mhm.
sources, are they truly bringing life or are they actually bringing destruction? So when you look at your day, when you look at your schedule,
Mhm.
like you look at your week, what's bringing life to your week and what's actually draining? And there are things, biblically speaking, um, I mean, the early church, it's like the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings, to breaking bread, to
Right.
fellowship, and one more, I just forgot it, and to prayer. There it is. Um,
We already forgot prayer.
I did it in opposite order, so it was supposed to be earlier in, and so, but they devoted themselves to those things. Those were the sources of life, community, learning from God,
Mhm.
praying time with God, like big things. And now it's like the believers devoted themselves to their kids' sports, to their
Picking fights online
but
and
yeah,
standing
to
by their one thing.
yeah, like so many things like that. And you're like, none of this is bringing life. Like if you hate, like if you are frustrated when you get on social media, delete the app. I can't delete the app. I need the app. I got to know. No, you
Mm.
don't. It's ruining your life. Delete it. Who
Dawson's been
cares?
living without social media and he seems very
It
happy.
seems fine. And, like, but there's things like that. Like, if it's not bringing you life and it's replacing something that could,
Mhm.
here's the thing though, we stay in it because it'll be fine. It'll work out. There's a better solution. I don't want to be missing out. I don't want to be looked at as weird because I don't have social media, or I don't want to be looked at weird because I don't do whatever.
Yep.
Like, just make a different decision. And there's sources that bring life. Our kids are away, our high schoolers are away at camp this week, and they take their phones.
Bro,
Check the phones in.
they detox for like the first day or so, we'll see them like phantom reach for nothing.
Uh-huh.
It's just this like big indicator light of like, oh, that kid's feeling uncomfortable right now.
Uh-huh.
You know how I know?
Because he doesn't have his phone to look at and he's looking for his
Every
phone.
time you see a teenager with a phone, just imagine a kid with a passy.
Uh-huh.
That's really all that's going on.
And so when I would
Same
do
with
these
grown-ups.
mission trips to Guatemala back in the day, I would take everybody's phone when we got there.
You're ahead of
Which,
your time.
but the whole premise is get into the thing that you're in. So our kids are there and their phones are away. And these are the stories like from previous years. It's like it was so good not to have my phone. It was so good not to worry about it. Same thing would be true when I would take these teams to Guatemala. Oh my gosh, it was so refreshing, not always looking at the phone, just to keep my heads up and interact with people and look at the mountains, all this beautiful stuff.
Mhm.
And we feel like it was so good. And the very first thing will happen, they'll get back on the bus after feeling like it was so good. They'll pull that phone back and they'll go
And
right
they'll
back into it.
respond.
And it is just
I
the
understand.
nature of life. And so there are wells that don't bring life that we constantly go back to thinking they will bring something good.
There's so much good neuroscience behind this too.
Yeah. Well, I think I quoted the Albert Einstein quote. He's the one who's attributed it.
I'm not sure that's his.
Well, it's debated. I looked it up whose it was, And Albert Einstein is the one that's most commonly referred to, which that's who I'd heard before.
He's got the best hair. Let's
But
go with
then it was a few other people were like, oh, it could be this guy, this guy. No one actually knows. But it's insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And sometimes we live life that way, where we're doing the same thing, thinking that, oh, it's going to eventually be fine. And it's a path of destruction in our wake.
That I would add one well that I would consider redigging as a church.
Okay.
Sabbath.
Mm.
Because I think so many of these things can become a part of our life if we can if Sabbath would be our first well and we could clear a 24-hour period, then these other things could seep in.
Yeah.
We could feel the power of what God has for us in these. If we can etch out and protect a Sabbath, a well worth digging up, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. Sabbath wasn't made for man. Man wasn't made for Sabbath. Sabbath was made for man.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of like taking time to rest, to recharge, to not be so busy,
to remember what brings joy in your life.
I think there's definitely a lot of wisdom to that.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, I loved the wells. I love the patriarchs. We have a couple more weeks in patriarchs.
We'll probably go through maybe the end of August,
All right. Our kids are going through the patriarchs in the month of August.
Nice.
So we'll probably catch up with you. We move a little quicker. In the kids ministry and catch up with you probably at the end there. So that'll be awesome.
Awesome.
All right, Rice City. We'll see you next week.